What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Dan Bilzerian responds to Anthony Lionheart-Smith accusations concerning him and Cowboy. In a recent episode of Michael Bisping's Believe You Me podcast, former light heavyweight title challenger Anthony Lionheart-Smith relayed a story that took place the night of his biggest fight of his career, his light heavyweight title shot against Jon Jones in March of 2019. While Smith was entering the octagon getting ready to fight Jones, he stated that well-known Instagram influencer Bilzerian and UFC lightweight Donald Cowboy Cerrone rocked up drunk to the seats reserved for Smith's mom, wife, and his manager's mother in the front row. Smith says that they thought they had seats in the front for them. This is what Smith stated.
So they kind of go back and forth a little bit, and literally Dan Bilzerian and Donald Cerrone removed my mom and wife from their seats while I'm getting ready to fight Jon Jones. I was furious. Like, had I seen Dan Bilzerian like the 10, because I found out about it right after I got it to the back, and if I'd have seen him then, I'd have tore his head off. I was so mad.
Smith later went on to say that when Bilzerian sat down next to Smith's mother, he ended up watching some XXX rated content on his phone, making his mom uncomfortable. Well, Bilzerian responded to Anthony Lionheart-Smith by sending him a DM, of which Cowboy Cerrone posted a screenshot that has since been deleted. But before it was deleted, some news media got a hold of it, and this is what it said. "So I saw your nonsensical story where you're using my name for clickbait. You should at least try to have some semblance of truth in there. First off, Cowboy invited me to that fight and he had the tickets. I didn't ask anyone to move, and certainly not your mother. I also didn't watch what you think I watched. If she was looking at my phone, I'm sure what she saw was a random Snapchat from a girl that turned out to be naked from when I opened it. I don't drink, so I certainly wasn't hammered. Your depiction of this story is complete BS. What do you make of this whole thing? Do you think the truth is somewhere in the middle here?" Joaquin Buckley doesn't buy any of the Batman BS about Kevin Holland. Bellator veteran and UFC middleweight Joaquin Buckley really dislikes Kevin Holland, and that's an understatement. The St. Louis, Missouri native lost his UFC debut to Holland back in August 2020 via TKO early in the third round. That fight was Holland's second win in a 5-fight winning streak at the time. But since all that, Holland has been very busy outside of the octagon. Not only is there documented evidence that Holland chased down a carjacker and held him in his neighborhood, but he also took down a gunman at a Houston restaurant, and just last week, he rescued a driver from an overturned tractor trailer in Texas. However, Buckley isn't buying any of this news and believes that Holland is just full of it. This is what Buckley stated in a recent interview with Andy Whitelaw about it. "Man, Kevin Holland, and not just because he beat me, he's one of the fakest people in the game. That guy's a fake. He got everyone looking the other way with all this Batman running around pretending he's something else, but I know who he really is." Given that Holland recently returned to the welterweight division with a win over Brazilian Cowboy Alex Oliveira at UFC 272 this past March, Buckley isn't too worried about having a rematch against Holland anytime soon. Still, Buckley is gearing up to take on Albert Duraev on June 18th. But what do you think about Buckley's comments? Are you with him? Or do you think he's just a hater? Jorge Masvidal not thinking that Conor McGregor wants to fight him. Anticipation continues to slowly mount over the return of Conor McGregor to the octagon. And while an opponent and even a date for his return has yet to be confirmed, there's no shortage of potential matchups that the UFC could make here. McGregor, who will be coming off a 1-year layoff from cage fighting on account of a broken leg injury, he's set to return later this year. He's already back doing some training, but he stated he wants to come back at 170 pounds because, well, have you seen the latest photos of him? He's been hitting the weight room hard in his absence away from the cage. That's why some people are saying that he could take on a natural welterweight at 170 or a lightweight at 170 pounds. He did it with Nate Diaz a few years ago in their back-to-back fights, and it could happen again. Then there's Michael Chandler, who cut an incredible call-out promo after he knocked out Tony Ferguson at UFC 274 a few weeks ago, and stated he'd be up for doing this fight at 170. Hell, even Charles Oliveira stated he wants to fight McGregor when he returns, but that's unlikely. One guy who some have stated would be a great foil for the Irishman and is equally as great on the mic while also bringing in all the promotional clout that could propel this fight into the stratosphere in terms of pay-per-view buys is Jorge Masvidal. Gamebred is coming off a very one-sided loss to his former friend in Colby Covington, but he remains a big draw himself. despite his recent losing streak in the octagon. Some have put Masvidal's name as a possible opponent for McGregor, but Gamebred doesn't feel that McGregor wants any part of that fight. Case in point, in a Spanish-language interview with ESPN Deportes, this is what Gamebred had to say. "He is false. He knows that I'm a man who hits hard and that I come to kill. I do not come to hug in the cage. I'm going to give everything inside me to kill him. I have a little size, although now he's shooting up and putting steroids and all kinds of things in his body, but he is still a little boy. I would love to fight at 170 pounds, but I don't wait for anyone. If he wants to do it, I'll break his face. If he doesn't want to do it, let someone come next." Masvidal currently faces felony charges of assault and criminal mischief on account of a physical altercation outside of a Miami Beach restaurant involving Covington. But either way, what do you think about Masvidal's comments here? Would you want to see McGregor-Masvidal at some point? And who do you think would win that bout at 170 pounds? Did you know that out of every 3 men, 2 of them will experience some kind of hair loss by the time that they're 35? Even some familiar UFC stars, like Kamaru Usman, Paulo Costa, and Joe Rogan, have all experienced pretty extreme hair loss situations of their own. With Keeps, you can get expert-level care without having to get up and go to a doctor's office. All of their treatment plans are doctor-recommended and delivered straight to your doorstep, and it'll only cost you half the price of what the pharmacies charge. If you're looking to prevent hair loss or stimulate your hair growth, Keeps has you covered. A Keeps physician will even help you select the right products and treatments for your personal situation and goals. They have 24/7 care and support and give you access to experts in a list of fields that can help you make your hair goals come to life. Results usually show in 6 months, but some users experience results quicker than others. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/MMAzone or click the link in the description. That's KEEPS.com/MMAzone. Now back to the video. Don't forget to take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the MMA Zone to stay up to date on the latest fight news. Tom Aspinall believes the Francis Ngannou Tyson Fury boxing bout is a bit closer than people might think. Francis Ngannou made waves when he appeared in the ring alongside Tyson Fury after the Brit knocked out Dillian Whyte in their boxing match in April in Wembley Stadium. During the post-fight interview, Ngannou and Fury expressed mutual admiration and respect, but they also announced that they were both interested in fighting each other in a boxing match with small gloves, possibly as early as next year, whenever Ngannou recovers from a serious knee injury. UFC President Dana White stated he's absolutely not in favor of this taking place, but he might not have any choice in the matter. The UFC and Ngannou have a contract negotiation looming on the horizon, if it hasn't already started. And while Ngannou is contractually obligated with the UFC for the remainder of the year, the fact that he's still out with an injury and unlikely to fight this year could have massive reverberations and allows him to sit out, fight Fury, and then he could come back to the UFC to defend his heavyweight title. That's just one scenario out of many that could play out, but he does seem adamant to want to fight the best boxers in the world, of which Fury certainly fits the bill as the WBC heavyweight champion. One guy who believes that this potential bout could be closer than people think is Tom Aspinall. The UFC heavyweight has been surging up the rankings recently and is being pegged as a future title challenger if he continues on this trajectory. He's also trained with Fury in the past and knows the guy's family. Also, they're both Brits, so you know he's definitely rooting for Fury in this one, which makes what he says next a bit more credible. Aspinall states that the small gloves changes things and Ngannou does have a shot to win this fight. This is what Aspinall told Ariel Helwani in a recent interview about it.
That Fury was going to lose to anyone in boxing would have been Wilder because he's so unorthodox. And I think it's similar kind of thing with Francis. And if you alter the rules slightly and put Tyson, with the smaller gloves, maybe a little bit different, I think it's a little bit closer than people might think,
Aspinall is currently slated to headline the UFC London card on July 23, when he takes on a tough Curtis Blaydes, who is on a 2-fight winning streak. But what do you think about Aspinall's comments? Do you think Ngannou could pull off the upset if this fight takes place? And do you think this fight would actually go the distance here? Valentina Shevchenko is confident ahead of Taila Santos' fight, but is taking it seriously. With less than 2 weeks to go until UFC 275 in Singapore, Valentina Shevchenko is getting mentally ready to defend her UFC women's flyweight title against Brazil's Taila Santos. Santos is currently ranked number 4 in the division, but has only lost once in her career, losing by split decision against Maria Romero Borella in 2019. But she's gone on a 4-fight winning streak since then, including a first-round submission win over Joanne Calderwood in her last outing in November 2021. Meanwhile, Valentina is on an 8-fight winning streak, including 5 successful title defenses, and has finished 5 of her last 8 opponents. She's been spectacular in the octagon, and while she's mostly known for her high-level Muay Thai skills, she's also shown tremendous skill in the grappling department. So much so, she's been able to submit some top-tier talent, including Priscilla Cachoeira by a rear naked choke, and don't forget about her armbar submission victory over current UFC Women's Bantamweight champion Juliana Pena back in January 2017. That's why Valentina understands that in order to be a real champion, she has to be lethal in all areas of the fight game. In a recent virtual press conference for UFC 275, Shevchenko and Santos spoke about their keys to victory for this fight. While Santos mentioned that she knows she can win in the grappling department and that Valentina hasn't seen a fighter like her, Valentina herself responded by saying this.
Oh, it's the same response for all my other opponents. Someone was thinking they have better striking, another one thinking that they have better wrestling, but the octagon shows them that they are wrong. And this is most exciting part of this content, this fight, that see frustration on someone's face when they understand they are not better.
Who do you have your money on for this June 11th title fight? Today's video was packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the MMA Zone to see more videos just like this. See you next time.